So today we will pay tribute to two of the greatest leaders the world has ever seen, recognized worldwide for their contributions to humanity. One from the faraway island of Cuba, and another one from here from South Africa. We are speaking of Fidel Castro and Nelson Mandela. So today we gather not only to commemorate the centenary of Fidel Castro, but also to reflect on the profound and enduring relationship between two great icons of the global south, Fidel Castro and then also our own Nelson Mandela. Their shared commitment to justice, to solidarity, and also to human dignity shaped the histories of Cuba and South Africa in ways that continue to resonate deeply in today's landscape. So, as the invitation to this seminar reminds us, this event honors the enduring historical relationship between Fidel Castro and Nelson Mandela, and it highlights their contributions to the emancipation of our peoples, particularly in areas such as education, health, and then overall solidarity. The collaboration between South Africa and Cuba stands as one of the most meaningful examples of global South cooperation. From Cuba's support during the liberation struggle, as we have seen also in the video, to its long-standing contribution in health and education, and also this particular relationship embodies a model of solidarity that transcends geography and also political boundaries.
Well, let me first say, when I was in exile, I had the privilege of being part of a huge event in Cuba, which was the World Youth Festival in 1978. Many of you maybe were not born. And that's when I first met Fidel Castro as the president of Cuba. But also just saw how there is a country in the world where color doesn't matter, where you felt very comfortable. And at the time I was studying in the UK, which was different. And of course I'd come from South Africa, which was very different. So for me, I was just impressed by the country and obviously by the leader of the country. Fidel was a leader that you can learn from just by having a short conversation. You learn a lot from him.
In 1991, that was the first time I went to Cuba. But then I had an opportunity when he visited South Africa to address our parliament. As he was leaving with Mandela, the parliament, I used to sit right next to the passage where everybody used to go. So Mandela stood and turned to me, and said to Fidel, this is the General Secretary of the Communist Party. Fidel says, so yeah, your party has a future. I hope he's right. But the moment that I will never forget really is one of the highlights in my life. When Fidel attended the World Conference against racism in Durban, I get called by Mandela. Zelda, of course, the secretary, is the one who says, no, Tata wants to talk to you. I said, I wonder what I have done today, And then Tata says, Blade, I have a very important visitor here who is a communist, who is going to be coming to see me. I want to show him that it's not only Cuba that has got communists, we also have got communists. But more important than anything else, in case he attacks me because I'm told communists are dangerous, you will be there to defend. I don't know how to defend it in these two tall men, So I managed to actually sit, and I thought they were going to chase me away. I sat with them for 40 minutes, having a discussion. Very fine, casual conversation. No state matters much because Madiba was retired at that time. I remember Fidel says, the reason why I've been wanting to meet with you, I want you to tell me, how did you spend 27 years in prison? Madiba said, no, you can also tell me about your experience in prison. Fidel says, no, but I only spent, 6 years in prison? You spent 27 years and you are still well and alive. How did you do that? So there were those kinds of exchanges that were I've got a very special picture. Please, the ambassador said he has got a video of that encounter, So they were sitting, joking, and talking about Cuban experiences, South African experiences, and so on.
Fidel and Mandela's relationship goes way before they even met. I mean, both leaders, they knew about each other from their own perspectives and struggles. But imagine that Mandela, when he was released, one of the first countries he visited was Cuba in 1991. In that moment, Cuba was passing through what we call the special period after the fall of the Soviet Union. Cuba was left in a bit of on its own path, and Mandela was one of the first leaders that went to Cuba because there was that sense of getting to know each other and to see what can be done from both sides. So the visit, of course, Fidel would not miss in 1994 the moment that President Mandela became president. He was here, and at that moment there was a huge funny discussion between them, because Mandela was of course he was happy to see Fidel in Cuba, but he wanted Fidel to come to South Africa, right, to visit and have an official encounter. So they were back and forward discussing, no, but when are you coming? No, tell me a date, when are you coming? Then Fidel was like, okay, let me see, I'll to check. But then that visit finally came to fruition in 1998, which was the official visit where they were talking.
We're reminding each other, by the way, that we were amongst only 200 people who were allowed to attend the interment of the remains of Fidel in Cuba. There were 3 South Africans. It was the 2 of us and the former Minister of Defense, Umar Musfi, who was also a former speaker. So it was a sad moment, but it was a very historic moment that at least we were also associated with, to say a final goodbyes to Fidel.
And indeed, Fidel and Mandela were icons who fought to make our dreams come true, to make them a reality, and they both transcended boundaries and transcended borders, because otherwise we wouldn't know Fidel here, or we wouldn't know back in Cuba and Mandela. And esteemed guests, this event takes place in the framework of the 100th birth anniversary of the leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro. And considering his long-standing friendship with the South African leader Nelson Mandela, like Professor Peterson said, we decided to convene this academic discussion in partnership with the University of Pretoria, to reflect on the legacies left by these remarkable men and the futures they envisioned for both our countries.
Both leaders understood that education is the cornerstone of liberation, that health is a fundamental human right, and that solidarity is essential for global justice. And again, these were leaders that talked about this many years ago and continue through their value systems and what the legacies that they left behind, and that has showed us that is the way, the direction we should go into.
Leaders who didn't just dream of a better world, but fought until their death to make it happen. And that's the legacy that we must continue defending today.